Welcome back to the channel, college football fans. We had a great week one slate. We had four. What? Yeah, he did 3, 4 top 10 matchups. Miami and Notre Dame, Clemson, LSU, Texas versus Ohio State. I think it's we're gonna see how these teams fare out in the next couple weeks. But what a good start to the season. And so this is going to be my official, picks for, okay, this is who I got in the top 25. So let's get into the video. So let's lay down some ground rules and some parameters before you even beat me to the comment section being like, okay, what the hell is this kind of list? My only parameters and what I'm gauging at is I'm taking the top 25 of what it was, and then we're just rebuilding it after who they played. And like, I'm going to look at, like, for example, I'm going to look at Florida. We know Florida, considering like how favored and, all the big things that we expect out of the Gators this year. Yes, I'm going to hold them to a little bit of a higher standard and like gauge their game just a little bit different than I will the LSU game, because look who Florida played versus look who LSU played. So let's just get that out of the way. And again, this list is going to be very fluid, where we're always it's going to be a new list every single week. And I'm going to give really praise and overreact to teams in the highest of highs, and then like a team like Bama, spoiler alert, I have them dropping a lot, and so we're gonna troll some teams a little bit too. But from 25 all the way to 1, let's start out with Kansas. Kansas is my 25 team. I think from what we have seen for these first 2 weeks, they're definitely a team that deserves to be in the top 25, and they're making more of a statement to want to be in the top 25 versus the other team that's playing in Kansas, because man, they are slipping right now. So if you couldn't guess, yes, I had Kansas State fall to 22, because man, they got to turn it around and quick, because I have a feeling that if Kansas State plays how they're playing right now, when they get to that Red Raider game against Texas Tech, when they play Arizona State, when they play Kansas in their own rivalry game, or Oklahoma State, well, they got to be careful, especially with Utah. Look at Utah too. Look at what Utah did to UCLA. And so I think we got to be careful. We got to be freaking careful. So that's just my thoughts on that. We had a couple big non-ranked matchups, like the TCU versus North Carolina, Auburn versus Baylor, Georgia Tech versus Colorado. And for me personally, I was going to put whoever won this game between Colorado and Georgia Tech, they're going to be in my top 25. It ended up being the Yellow Jackets, so we're going to have Georgia Tech sitting at 21. And we're going to gauge if they're still here in the top 25 after that Clemson game, because that's going to be a really big game. And we're going to look at Clemson a lot different after now they've lost one, so their own one. We're going to look at them a lot different in a couple weeks when they're 2-2 if they lose to Georgia Tech. Some teams that were not ranked that I put in because I was impressed with who they played and their level of competition: Nebraska and Auburn. They're going to sit at 19 and 20. Auburn played Baylor, and then Nebraska played Cincinnati. Auburn, it was a road game. 18 and 17, I put Florida, and I put Oklahoma. Again, it's hard to gauge what Florida's going to do in the SEC, considering who they played versus who LSU played week 1. But then moving on, teams 13 through 16. Number 16, I put Michigan. Again, should they have blown out that team? Maybe. But we'll just see how they do this next week against Oklahoma. It's obviously going to be the biggest game up until that point in the season. For Bama, I dropped them down to 15. I still think they're a top 15 team, but we will just see, because considering how favored they were, what FSU did last year, Coach DeBoer getting into his second year, the hype behind the new QB, and then they do that. So that's why I had them dropping a little bit. Iowa State, 2-0. I think how they controlled the end of the game last week against Kansas State, I'm going to give them a lot of credit. And so I'm going to have them moving up into the top 15. Right now, from what I've seen, Rocco Beck and the Cyclones, they are a top 15 team. We'll just see where they are when we get into more Big 12 play. How are they going to fare up against Texas Tech? How are they going to fare up against, I believe they got Utah coming up here in a couple weeks. But we'll reassess and we'll circle back to that. A huge team that jumped into this list stormed it, literally and metaphorically. Florida State. I have Florida State jumping into the top 15. Is it a huge overreaction? Absolutely. And the reason why is because they're unranked and a lot of people have written them off. And I think with just how you have Castellanos transferring in, I think Florida State's going to have a big year. And I think if Florida State can take care of business against Clemson, and I believe they play Miami as well, and like they take care of the teams like the Dukes, like Georgia Tech, like NC State, those other teams that aren't going to get to the conference game unless they go on a magical run. If they can take care of those games, we're going to have a Florida State versus Miami ACC Championships game. Or we're going to have a Florida State versus Clemson ACC Championship game. 11 with Lenore Sellers and South Carolina. Virginia Tech, I mean, it was an interesting game. And so we'll circle back. We'll see if we can improve or just where we go from there. Because, again, it's hard to gauge some of these teams because who they played versus other teams. Number 10, I'm going to put the Fighting Irish. I have them dropping down just a little bit. But to me, in my eyes, like, I still think the Irish are a top 10 team. Like, that was a good game. I think Miami gave them a hell of a run. So, yeah. Moving up a little bit from, I believe, the 11th spot, I'm going to put ASU. Now, yes, it's a little bit of bias, but we'll just see where this team's at because NAU gave them some fits a little bit. I mean, third down conversion was terrible for both teams, but let's just see how. They got Mississippi State coming up. They will play TCU. They'll also play Texas Tech. We'll just see how they fare out in the Big 12. I mean, a lot of people are talking about them going back to back, but we'll just see. So I have them at 9. And then moving from 8 to 5, I have Miami jumping up. If Miami can just get it done with Carson Beck, they will be in the ACC championship game. But then Clemson, they're my 7 team. I had them dropping a little bit. Just not too far. I still think they're a top 10 team. We'll just see where they go from here because the LSU game is the biggest game they have on their schedule, preseason-wise. Obviously, once we get into this thing and more teams get ranked and the ACC picture starts to form a little bit, there will obviously be bigger games in the year. But it's going to be very interesting in 2 weeks if they can't get it done against the Yellow Jackets. And we look and it's like, oh, Clemson's 2-2. So I don't think that's going to happen, but we're just going to have to see. Like Clemson, they got to figure it out. Staying at the same spot, I have Oregon, and then moving down from the number 1 spot in the 5 spot, I have Texas. I'm not going to overact too much. I'm just going to have them dropping down just a little bit because just the matchup of who it was. Both these teams, Ohio State and Texas, whoever lost, they were going to drop down to the 5 seed. Like, that's kind of just how it was because you can't drop Texas all the way out of the top 10 because of their own one right now. As far as we know, Texas just played the number 1 defense in the country, and Ohio State just played the number 2 defense or number 1, because both defenses, obviously when it's a 7-14 game, yeah, defense was the main priority in that game. It was a good game. Very low scoring, though, and there were ugly moments. But for 5, I'm going to have Texas. Not going to overreact or jump off the ship just yet. It's one game, and of course, it's Manning's first start, so let's get that out of the way. Same with Julian Saint. It's his first start as well. And so to, write both of them off and be like, what a bust, what a waste. No. At number 4, jumping up a lot. Not as much as FSU, though. That number 4 seed is going to be LSU. They're probably the number 1 team right now, rank-wise, in the SEC. If the SEC did their own rankings or whatever, they're probably the number 1 team in the SEC right now. Number 3, not moving much, just considering who they played. They played Marshall. Going to put Georgia at 3. We'll see where they go once, we get past the first non-conference games. Number 2, not moving at all. Also Penn State. And so then that leaves Ohio State as number 1. No shocker there. But I think, we'll just gauge how these next couple games go. Because, again, it's week 1. Nothing too crazy. But that's just personally my thoughts and opinions on who the top 25 teams are. Thank you for listening to me ramble this much. What are your guys' thoughts in the comment section? Again, we're going to just change some things up. and do different rankings every single week. I mean, hell, LSU could lose next week and be like, well, we'll drop them down to 20, I guess, or something like that. But be sure to hit that like button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.